Shalom everyone, and today we're studying about the month of Iyar, Taurus, and the qualities of this month, and people are born and affected by this month, although during this month everybody's affected by it. That's basically one of the major concepts that we learn. We are affected this month by those traits, and let's see what do we have to be careful about, and what are the benefits we could get on this month. So starting to speak about any month, we start with the Kabbalistic formula, explaining how this month is generated, which means the energy of this month. So we are talking about a 4-season system starting in the spring, and the spring is the first month. And as we learned, the 4 seasons, they correspond to the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, Yud and Hey, Vav and Hey. The Yud is representing the spring, the Hey is summer, the Vav is the fall, and the last Hey is the winter. Now, each one of them is representing heavenly forces that are basically representing our reality. And you can find this is the DNA of everything that we know and we think about. So if we're talking about the spring, this is the letter Yud, Sfirat Chokhmah, and Sfirat Chokhmah, among many, many other things, is basically symbolizing energy, creativity, more than anything else, energy, power, okay? Power and the access to power, okay? So Chokhmah is also fire, because fire is representing energy more than the other 3 elements. So the whole spring is based on these, on that force of Chokhmah. And therefore, as we learn all the time, the core element of the 3 months of the spring, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, is fire. All of them, all 3 of them are energetic, powerful, motivated. You could see them being born with excess amount of energy, and that affects their lives a lot. All 3 can't stand situations or tolerate situations of nothing is happening, everything is comfortable and nice, although the myth is saying the Taurus is not at all. Okay, and let me explain. So we have the fire in the core of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, although we can see that they are divided to right, left, and center. Every 3 signs, every 3 signs of every season are divided to right, left, and center, which is also similar to water, fire, air, which means the Aries is a fire by the core because it's a spring, but it has, because it's the first one in the spring, it has water. And that's why Aries, they have this soft spot for helping others. Okay? The Taurus is the left, so that is fire of fire, which means here the left column, the all is very intense. Fire is symbolizing energy, but consuming fire. It means you always need to take, to grab, to generate, to create, like fire. Fire is the epitome, according to Rabbi Zechariah, of creativity. You can watch a fireplace for hours and you can never be bored. because it is so creative. It's never repeating itself. So and also fire needs to take, to consume, to get, in order to exist. So we understand that during the month of Taurus, we have a very, very strong intensity of receiving. And if you look at also the element of the month, which is known in a general astrology, this is an earth sign. So it's an earth sign with double fire within it. And earth is again dryness, and that's a dryness, and again need, desire, willpower, and the power of the vessel, which means it's another derivative of the fire. So if you look at the Taurus, which is all three elements, like the from the aspect of the season, it is fire. For the aspect of the location, the season, it is fire. And for its own, this is earth, which means Taurus, they need to get, to acquire, hungry, and that means aspirations and drive. And that means very, very, very strong tendency towards selfishness, very strong tendency. And this is one of the biggest danger of these sign, because selfishness is a crime that has no, this is a crime without any forgiveness. It's like you can't, in our universe, you cannot be selfish without being punished severely. Why? What's so strong? What's so terrible about being selfish? And the answer is very simple. The universe is based on the desire to share, because the seed of the universe, what is known in the Kabbalistic formula, what is known the tree of life, it's starting from Keter. And Keter is all about sharing and giving and loving and making somebody else happy. And the moment somebody creates a lifestyle, ideology, a character that is based only about taking, receiving, the punishment is terrible, because you're cutting yourself off from the tree of life, from the source of whatever that is good, and you're doomed forever till you're going to decide to let go of that selfishness, and you're going to replace it with the ideology of being there for others. As I said, there's no forgiveness for selfishness. And Taurus, we can see it already from here. This is the biggest dangers of creating a lifestyle that is all about one thing: enjoying myself, and who cares about the rest of the world. That I'm not saying all Tauruses are like this. I met a lot of them that think like this. As I said, it doesn't matter if you belong to any other of the 11 signs. Everyone can fall into that place. Why? Because we are born this way. We are born selfish. He can't be born unselfish. It is written, that's a law of the universe. It is written in Genesis. The human heart's inclination is selfish from birth. That's how we're born. And our journey is to learn how to transform it. Now, this is very important, because we are, as humanity, we are facing a very, very tough time. Very tough time. A whole cycle that started almost 80 years ago. When World War II was over, the V-Day, the day of victory, the day that Nazi Germany basically ceased to exist, that was May 8th, 1945. A new era had started. It was conceived with the sacrifice of millions of people that fought against Nazism, that fought against all what represents evil. Okay? So it was this era of freedom, this era of a new generation that knew peace more than the other generations in the history of humanity, that was focused on what? If we're talking about that this era was originated on May 8th, 1945, we are talking about that's TAURUS. That's the beginning of something so powerful. And the next 80 years almost that followed were focused about, like never ever in history of humanity, making this world comfortable as possible for everyone and safe as possible for everyone. And now in the last few years, this era is coming to an end with the corona pandemic, with the wars that are erupting, and especially in Europe. There's no safety anymore. There's no comfort anymore. The world, the way we know it, is transforming because it took all the way in a Torah non-spiritual way towards, just as we said, how can we focus on just enjoying ourselves and ourselves alone? And the symbol is just look around, consuming the culture of we have, and all, if you know Kabbalah, all the symptoms are following, which means depression. You know, when you're selfish, you're going to be depressed. And there's no solution to that because you're cutting yourself off the tree of life, and cutting yourself off the tree of life means that the flow of godly light, which basically provides to everyone, that nourishes every creature or even an atom in the universe or anything in the universe, it's all living through that endless light. But the moment the human being develops an ideology of consuming and myself alone, this is the results, the punishment is horrible. It's like you're cutting yourself away from the energy of life that you So we will see right now more aspects, and then we can continue to develop the topic that we just started, which is again the huge transformation humanity needs to make in order to survive moving to the next stage. Okay, so if we go to the elements of this month, in addition to what we just spoke about, we have over here basically two forces. We have the sign of Taurus, which was created according to the book of formation, Sefer Yetzirah, related to Abram, the patriarch, by the Hebrew letter Vav. And you see it on the top left, that's a letter Vav. And the letter Vav symbolizes the connection to the heavens, the connection between the heaven and the earth. So it's like, how is that connected to what we just spoke about it? Selfishness. Because we know that the remedy is always there where the malady is. On the right, we see the planet Venus, which was created by the Hebrew letter Pei. Now, Pei is a very significant letter in our case because the Zohar explains that the letter Pei, if you have a very good imagination, it looks like a snake curling itself and hiding its poisonous mouth or head inside. I hope you can see that. Which means you have in the planet, so we just spoke till now, we spoke about Taurus. Now we have in addition the planet Venus. And Venus is a snake that is trying to hide being so poisonous. And we know that Venus is the symbol of good life. Good life, looking for pleasure, looking for sexual pleasure. The last 80 years were the most biggest party on that aspect in the history of humanity. So that really shows where we are. If we're just going to ask which planet is ruling in the last 80 years, of course this is Venus. Okay? But then we'll come back to it. We know that that planet Venus is controlled by the fifth line of the Ana Bekoach, which means this is the fifth permutation of the name of 42 letters. And that's Chasin Kadosh Berov Tuvcha Nahel Adatecha, initials Chet Kuf Bet Et Nunayin. That this is a very powerful meditation that we can use in order to control planet Venus and the sign of Taurus. Another element is the tetragrammaton permutation that is ruling this zodiac sign. You see, we have a lot of elements that we have to learn how to play with it. So what we have in front of us is the basic meditations that we need to use daily in order to elevate above the negative influences of this month and at the same time connect to the positive aspect. Okay, so let us see how that goes. I'm going to go back to it. If not, remind me. Okay, so another thing that is very important, remember, we just spoke about the two letters of the month, the letter Pei and the letter Vav. The letter Pei and Vav, and you know that Hebrew is also, the Hebrew letters are also numbers. So the letter Pei Vav, this letter Pei Vav, it's a number 86. Now 86 has a very powerful Kabbalistic meaning. 86 is the name Elohim, which is one of the major names of God that refers to judgment. 86 is also kos. Kos means a cup, a goblet, which is another symbol for the vessel, which means all what we're just speaking about is about the aspect of the recipient. When we are talking about the creation has basically two major forces. One is the creator, the giving force of life, and the other one is the creation, which is that aspect, that the recipient element, that without it there's no creation. And what is it? What was the creation created for? To receive. That's the main focal point, which means we are here to receive. Whoever thought, yes, we spoke about it before, that receiving selfishness is an unforgivable sin because it cuts us away from the tree of life, from the grid, from God's network of life, energy, good fortune, whatever that is good. However, we were created for that purpose. We were created for the purpose to receive. And therefore, the sign of Taurus is like the epitome of the creation. It's all about, I'm here to receive, I'm a vessel, I want, and I'll make it happen that I get what I want. Okay? Now, if you realize the religion that is the strongest religion that appeared in the world in the last decades was the religion of I am here to take, to receive, to achieve, to get, to enjoy. Think positive about yourself, about your desires. Think big, you'll be big. Just make money, get whatever pleasures and possible. And it's a culture, a religion that is focused on one thing. I'm here to receive and to receive the biggest, the most intensive pleasure, joy, whatever possible. Okay, that's our religion. That's a religion of our generation. And this religion seems to be replacing all the religions of the past. Okay? However, we can see that these letters are also appearing in two of the major parashot that are being read usually in the month of Taurus, and you can see that the letter Pei, which is the number 80, so Parashat Acharei Mot, which is being read almost always in the month of Taurus, it has 80 verses. And Parashat Kedoshim that follows it has 64 verses. And 64 verses, if we look at the number, we have that in every parasha in the Torah, at the end of the parasha, in the old-fashioned commentaries, it has the number of the verses and a code word that is on the same number. And the code word for Parashat Kedoshim is Ve Noga. It's not even a word. It means and Venus, which means the Pei, and you add Venus. So you have the Vav of the month, you have the Pei in Parashat Acharei Mot, you have the Vav in Parashat Kedoshim that follows, and you have also Noga, Venus, which is, you have Taurus and Venus. It's all hinted in these two parashot that are the major, as we're going to see later on, they are kind of the epicenter, the axis of this month in the Torah readings that we read during the month of Iyar. Now, so if we're talking about the month of Iyar is the month of love. How could all what we just said, the month of love? Yes, make love. That is what Taurus is about. But if you look at it, you see something amazing. The name of the month is Iyar. However, the name of the sign is in Hebrew Shaul. Shaul means the ox, Taurus in Latin. However, whoever knows the Kabbalistic terms, when we're speaking about the chariot of Ezekiel, Ezekiel chapter 1, one of the major source of Kabbalistic symbolism in the Tanakh, the ox is the symbol of Ezekiel chariot of the left, the judgment, the left column and judgment. Okay, so we have another aspect, and this is if we have the four holy beasts in Ezekiel's chariot, the one that is judgment is the Taurus, Shaul. And you have also one of the 72 names is Vav Shin Reish. You can find it in the fourth line from the top, in the most left column on the left. Okay, fourth from the top, first from the left. That's Vav Shin Reish. That's one of the 72 names. And both of them, if you notice, the same letters, and both of them connect to first of all, numerically, Sho is Shin is 300, Reish is 200, so you have 500. Vav is 6, 506. 506 is also the first letter combination of the Ana Bekoach. The name of 42 letters is made of 7 sequences. The first one and the most powerful of them all is Aleph Bet Gimel Yud Tav Tzadik, and this one is also, by mistake, coincidence, numerical value of 506, and it speaks about the origin of the universe in that source of oneness, completion, harmony. That's where we all came from. When the universe was created, when we read the Genesis chapter 1, and we read over there that on verse 5 already, it says there was a night, there was a day, one day, which means the creation, the night, the recipient, and the creator, the light, were one. So in the beginning, the whole universe starts with one endless unity. That the Kabbalists define it as the middle point. How can you define, using geometry, oneness? And the answer by the Kabbalists is only a point, because the moment you have a picture bigger than a point, you already have a separation, so it's not one. Let's say you have a line, okay? So in a line, you have the distance between the two edges of the line. The moment you have distance, it's not one anymore. So only a point can symbolize, because a point cannot even perceive with a logic, because everything is there in a point, but you have no dimensions. And dimension means separation. And no wonder that the same number, 506, is also in Hebrew, Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, which is the healer, the solver, the problem solver of everything. Why? Because how can we connect to the tree of life? By unconditional love. What does it mean, unconditional? We're not making accountings about I did this, they did that. I'm just generating that unconditional love within me, because that is the cause of the creation. So if we go back, remember, we said, why did we say that Parashat Achrei Mot and Kedoshim are the axis of the month of Iyar? And we know what? When there is this famous, very famous story that repeats itself twice in the ancient history of Judaism, that when you ask the question, what is the whole Torah standing on one foot? Or what is the general rule that is the master rule, that without it you cannot understand any other rules in the Torah? And the answer, the oldest version, is by Hillel the Elder. That was more than 2,000 years ago, maybe 2030, 40, 50 years ago. And the version of Rabbi Akiva, which is about 1,800 years ago. And both of them say, love others as you love yourself. Where do you find that love others as you love yourself? In Parashat Kedoshim, the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 19. That is love others as you love yourself. So here, Parashat Kedoshim, the axis of the month of Iyar is also the axis of the whole Torah. And when you read the Zohar about Parashat Kedoshim, the Zohar commentary on Parashat Kedoshim, it starts that when the great sages in the time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came to study Parashat Kedoshim, they were happy because all the rules of the whole Torah are here. And again, it's about loving others as you love yourself, which is also a very key very important key of Parashat HaChaimot, which is mostly about Yom Kippurim. How can you connect to the such a great revelation of Yom Kippurim if you do not really commit to love others unconditionally? So here we have this paradox. On one hand, the number 506, it's TAURUS, it is the judgment, the ox, left column, desires, selfishness, me, and only me. Okay? Which is the anthem, the banner of our civilization. Okay? You know, the founders of this civilization, the people who fought for freedom, after they gave their life away, after they really sacrificed so much, now we can just live free as birds and simply worry about nothing. Just focus, like a TAURUS, on one thing. How can I really work hard with a lot of excitement and ambition and desire? These are the this is it. This is what, if you just watch all of those great kahuna, the great big priest of our generation, Tony Robbins, it's all about think that you can make it, you can deserve to make it, to make a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of assets, and then you can spend it and enjoy without limitation because you should. It's like, and then you raise a generation that is the most miserable generation in history, if you just follow the consumption of antidepressants. So how did we come about it? That you see it right in front of you. On one hand, and that we have to understand, only when you study Kabbalah you can really understand that. On one hand, the Talmud says you have to see the whole creation like it was created just for you and for you alone. TAURUS. And at the same time, you have to see yourself like you were created for one purpose and one purpose alone, which is to serve humanity, to serve the creation. You know, this is the two opposites. That's what you just see in front of you. On one hand, this is the judgment, the selfishness, that desire to receive all possible pleasures. And on the other hand, unconditional love. And it is, on one hand, this is an oxymoron. On the other hand, you can't one without the other. Let's go back to the beginning. In the beginning, when the creation happened, it was created because of one thought and one seed only, to share pleasure with someone. And we were created as creatures of desire. So what the last 80 years did, they released most of humanity like never before. We are here to receive, that's our calling. We're here to manifest our dreams, our visions, our desires, everything that we just dreamt about for millennia. Now we can fulfill it because, like never before, the world is giving us, from the political side, from the technological side, from all possible, from the economical side, we can achieve that goal like never before. And humanity is working hard. Just look at, the race among nations about the GDP. Who is growing faster in what? Creating value and consuming it. That's a measurement of a successful nation, right? It's like you are in a race. Who's getting there? Okay? However, so why are we so miserable? Why is it that those countries that come every year on the top of the list of the happiness index of the United Nations, They are also coming on top of the list of consumption of antidepressants. Uh, so how do you define happiness? Consuming of antidepressants or consuming, being able to manifest your dreams about career, about assets, about buying things, about affording all kind of pleasures, like going to luxury hotels and having luxury vacations and wearing, carrying, owning luxury products and stuff like this. This is the main religion of our world today. And even like countries who are backward in that race, simply that it looks like they're picking up. So here we have this question: how could we show the ox, the judgment, be in the same number as unconditional love? And the answer is that we were born to this world with the ultimate selfish desire, as we just mentioned, as it's written in the Parashat Bereshit in Genesis. However, we came to this world in order to transform exactly that selfishness. Yes, we were created for the purpose of receiving endless joy and pleasure. But as we said before, if you think that that can happen by itself, you have a big mistake. Because you want to receive endless happiness, you need to connect to the tree of life, the source of all positive energy, all light. And the way to do it is by the law of affinity. You need to generate unconditional love, so by that you convert the great engine that is called the desire to receive, the desire to receive pleasure. It's like never before in history people believed like today that we're here and we deserve to receive pleasure and happiness. Never before in history. That's a necessity in the process of the tikkun. It's a must. If you don't believe that you were created to be happy and to experience pleasure, you didn't even start the journey that every human being should make. However, then you should understand that just having yourself focus on of pleasure and self-happiness and receiving whatever that makes you feel good, that is a necessity, but it's not enough. If you want to connect to the source of light and pleasure, you must play by the law of affinity. So you need to transform all that desire for pleasure, beauty, excitement, and so on into the desire to receive for the sake of sharing it with others. Why? In the beginning, you tell yourself, that's the only way. What can I do? I don't like people. People are headache. You just need to be when I'm worried about people, a spouse, children, community, then I can't worry about myself. I cannot indulge myself. Why do I need to commit to those people? No, you commit to those people so you learn how to love others, because it's the only way your desire to receive all the pleasures in the universe can be operated without killing you. We said again, but the law of affinity, the only way we can tap into the socket of the tree of life is by the law of affinity, which means we need to vibrate loving, sharing, really caring for others. So when we care, we share for others. When we love others, we don't do them a favor. We're basically doing a favor with ourselves. It's the only way we can really live instead of killing ourselves gradually. Another depression, another disappointment, another grief, all because things didn't happen the way we planned them to happen. then you see those people that follow the great priest of our religion, and they're working hard, and they just go on, let's dream about it, you can do it, think about it, you desire it, and make it and happen, and they get there. They achieve the big mansion and the beautiful expensive cars and all of that, and then you see how their life fall apart. Can't get along with the wife, with the husband, with the kids. They don't want kids. They stay by themselves, and it's all becoming one terrible disappointment while you trying to play that you look successful, and it's all a big lie. And you look and you go, I lived in Beverly Hills for a while and other places like this, and it's all like playing the show that you're successful, but you're not, you're miserable. Only the ones who are wise enough to focus their energy also about family, community, and unconditional love with others, they're the ones who could turn their success story into a true, lasting success story. So, and therefore, if you don't have the desire and the acknowledgement, the self-acknowledgement that you deserve to be happy, because that's why God created you, you can't enjoy that. So the month of Iyar is a month of light, because the word Iyar is coming from Or, light. The biblical, the name Iyar started to be used only around Second Temple era. In the time of the Bible, the month of Iyar was called Yerach Ziv. Ziv means also shining light. The planet Venus in Hebrew is Noga. Noga is also shining light, more like glamour. Okay? Everybody's looking for glamour, right? And that will come soon to Venus. And the day, one of the most powerful holidays of the year, the holiday of Kabbalah, which is Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day after Passover, is being celebrated on the 18th day of Iyar. Okay? That is the day that the Zohar was completed by Rabbi Shimon. Okay? It was not really completed because other sages added to it, but Rabbi Shimon's creation in bringing the Zohar to the world has come to completion. Zohar means also splendor, shining light. And the month of Iyar is also the letters of Yud Reish Aleph, which means in Hebrew awe. Awe is that place that on one hand you can see the endless power of the light, but at the same time you're not afraid of it, but you love it. But you keep yourself at check that you're not falling into self-indulgent, which means you know to be there in the same place, and in the same place you know that you're here to receive God's light, and you're okay focusing on that. And at the same time, and you have what is needed for that. You have the vessel for that. Okay? All these numbers, 86, Taurus, ox, and so on. Fire, earth. You have that. At the same time, you know you can destroy it in a split second. The moment you stop being there for others. Let's go back to have another aspect to complete what we just learned. So, Venus is the letter Pei, and Venus is the planet that affects Taurus and Libra, And we know in general astrology, it's a planet for love, romance, money, beauty, art, whatever is beautiful. And also precious art. You call it art when you have to pay a lot of money for that, or can make a lot of money from that. If it's beautiful, nobody's willing to pay. That's not called art, not today. Your natal Venus, which means the place of Venus in your birth chart, speaks to the way you express your desires, your passions. It's all about pleasure. It's all about beauty. What you value and how you relate to the experience, to an experience pleasure, because that's what Venus is about. But remember, we said that the letter P for Venus is a snake hiding its head. On one hand, it's very pleasurable. You can't see the poison. On one hand, we're in a generation that people have the religion of self-indulgent. If you enjoy it, there must be kosher. It has to be right. Can't see the poison in loneliness, selfishness, and the depression that follows because you cut yourself off the tree of life. So if you can turn that into the desire to receive all of that, but in one condition, to make others happy too. Yeah, I'm supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to feel pleasure. I was created for that purpose. But love others as you love yourself. You want it, you must share it also. Then you see that in the midst of the letter P, you can see the letter Bet in the space hidden inside the letter. Bet is the beginning of the creation. Bet has the top connecting to the heavens, the bottom connects to the earth, and the line, the vav that connects between the two, the heaven and the earth. The moment we overcame the snake, we overcame the poisonous aspect. What is a snake? It's just me. I'm here just to think about me. This is a snake. This is the sin of Adam. This is the source of all troubles that we can experience. When we overcome that, then we reach healing. Because if we read Exodus 15:26, just after the splitting of the Red Sea, and God says, if you listen to the Lord your God, if you pay attention to his commands, and keep all his decrees, I will not bring you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians. For I am the Lord who heals you. Who will heal you? The tree of life. How do you connect to the tree of life? You have, by the law of affinity, to generate love. Unconditional love. So that's why, when it says, I am the Lord who heals you, Ani Hashem Adonai Rofecha, the initials are Iyar, this month. So this is also the month of healing. This is the month the manna started to come down on the new moon of Iyar, of Taurus. Why? Because the manna was the bread from heaven, so we can cleanse ourselves. So this is a month for cleansing the body and the soul. Very important to understand. So, I promise we're going to talk about it more. So, what are the tools for this month? So, as we said, first of all, the meditation on the Pei and Vav. The Vav is the bridge between the heaven and the earth. Because if you have such a great desire, you must be that bridge. That on one hand, without huge, great desire, you cannot be a vessel, of course, for God's light. On the other hand, you have to be aware of your responsibility to tap into the tree of life by giving to others. When you transform the snake, you can reveal the bed. You can reveal the healing aspect. And therefore, when we read Bnei Sachar Rabbi Tzvi Elimelech Midinov, 200 years ago, one of the greatest Kabbalists in Eastern Europe, he wrote a book about all the astrological aspects written in all the sources. And he starts about writing about the month of Iyar, צירוף הוויה השולט בחודש זהו י"ק-כ"ו. The letters combinations, permutations of the tetragrammaton, there are 12 of them, each one represents one sign, and this is Yud, Hey, Hey, and Vav. Okay? What does that stand for? In this order, that applies, according to the Tikkunei Zohar, to a verse, okay, from Psalms 96, verse 11. No, I'm sorry, that's a mistake. It's not from there. It's not written here. Just a second. Okay, this is from Jeremiah 9:23. And it says, the person who, and it means that's Hebrew, it's a different grammar, but it's like the joy of the person who prays God that he will learn more and know more. The rejoice of learning, and that we learn from that, says, quotes the Tzvi Elimelech, Bnei Yisachar, that this is a time to achieve greater wisdom. And other places, many places in the writings say, when you are sick, study Torah. Excuse me, why do you have to study Torah when I'm sick? And the question is, why does somebody become sick? And we learned that, and we're just finishing a whole course about health and healing, and it's all about one thing. When your thinking is not balanced, when your emotions are not balanced, when you are not connected excitedly to God's light, using God's wisdom, then sooner or later you go off balance. Something will hurt you, something will disappoint you, you won't be able to overcome that. The result will be mental problems, emotional problems, and if you don't fix that, it will start manifesting in your body. And there will be blockages in your soul, and then your body will go off balance. So, how do you heal? Yeah, you can do a special cleansing diets, and there's so many cleansing diets, spring diets, for this time of the year. You can eat only this kind and that kind and do all kinds of cleansing diets, but if you do not cleanse your thought and mind and replace selfishness with awareness of unconditional love to the whole universe, the healing won't come. The real healing is through unconditional love. Yeah, but I don't like that person. You know, you don't understand when you're busy not liking somebody, you're hurting yourself. You know what they say about hate? When you hate somebody else or you're angry about him, it's like somebody who's drinking poison, expecting somebody else to die. If you're busy hating and being angry, who are you poisoning? Who are you making sick? If you are angry about the universe, about yourself, who are you making sick? Just yourself. So this real spiritual wisdom is hinted in that letter combination, permutation Youdkevitch of this month. Chet Kuf Bet Tet Nun Ayin, it's also about elevating your consciousness beyond just the box of the five senses, which is another way to say how to heal yourself. And the manna was given this month, bread from heaven, as we said, to purify the bodies of the Israelites so they will be able to receive the wisdom of Mount Sinai revelation. Okay? So there are a lot of stuff to learn. And again, we have simply to understand. In our day and age, we have to create that bridge, the little vav. The bridge between, on one hand, this is the time to spread, open, release our desires for everything. And the whole idea of democracy, which is giving people the idea that happiness, the right for happiness, cannot ever be taken away from us by any means. However, that is based on the idea that you have a commitment to help society to become better as much as you can do it. And since that idea is not setting in yet, it's not a religious idea. It's a cosmic wisdom idea. It's the most existentialist idea possible. However, if I don't understand that the highest interest that I have is to be there for others, because only then I can manifest my idea of pleasure, experiencing pleasure, which is Venus, Noga. And Noga has also a gematria, 58. 58 is chen, grace, finding grace, to look good, to feel good, to find grace, that everything will be pleasurable. However, chen is also initials of Chochmah Nisteret, the hidden wisdom of Kabbalah. So that's why we're celebrating the Zohar Day on this month. And that's why there's so much light in this month for us to heal from our selfishness, for our society to heal from materialism that is so common to Tauruses that are not spiritual, that the pain is horrible. Therefore, what we see right now is that humanity, we thought that we are coming to a day and age in which historians were already writing down, there won't be more wars, no plagues, we'll be safe, we'll be gods, we'll just spend time, the robots are going to do the work and we're going just to enjoy. No, it's not happening. Why is this collapsing? Why we are so worried about the future of our society and our children? Because all what looks so stable is falling apart. And you can't trust anyone, especially your governments, to do it for you. And the answer is, if it is only materialistic, it's like a dry well. And now the well is drying down. And nobody understands what's happening, but the old system is collapsing and we have to reinvent it on the base of real, true, not fake, loving the others, real, true caring in order to connect to the endless light of the Creator. You can't ignore that. And that's the message of this month and our era. Thank you so much. Have a great month.